And welcome back. We have a 2004 Ford Focus, and we're gonna go ahead and get the front brakes done tonight, as well as the rear drum brakes. All right, remember, safety first. Doctor. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take these plastic caps off, which they just go right here. You get the top one off. And yep, we got a wiener. So this is a H7. Go ahead and try to get these off right here. Now, honestly, these brakes aren't really all that worn out, you know. The brake pads look like they have plenty of life on them. It's just, they're old. The owner of this car doesn't drive it much. You know, I'm not trying to talk crap or anything, but they are old people. So the woman that owns this car, she only drives it to and from work every day. And she doesn't work very far, so the car only gets driven in very short distance, and then the rest of the day it's just parked in front of her house. So I asked them when's the last time they had the brakes done. They can't even recall, so it's been a while. So they're just changing everything out because everything is old. And they plan on taking some sort of a trip, which they're actually going to drive pretty far. So they told me that they just wanted to get the brakes done all the way around since it's been a while, and they're going to be taking it for a long trip. You know, I don't like these. I don't know why. I just don't like this design. I don't know, it just really bothers me. I hate dealing with it. As you can see, I'm trying to figure out how to get this off. Okay, there you go. I know it's a real simple design and, you know, all that, but it just doesn't sit right with me. It just seems really cheap and like a lazy way of designing a brake system. I don't know, whatever. Alright, what's going on here? The bottom pin isn't up far enough, so there we go. And here's what I was talking about. I mean, they're not completely, it's not like brand new pads. Right? Let me turn on the light. Okay, so yeah, they're not like brand new or anything, but they're definitely, you know, they got some life left in them. But getting changed out anyway, so go ahead and hang up the caliper. Oh, these things are crusty. And just like that, here comes the rotor. Now I do apologize if you hear me with the sniffles, because I am a little bit sick. I'm just about getting over it, but I'm still sick. So that really sucks. Go ahead and clean these off. Alright, that looks good enough. And we get to open up a fresh container of caliper grease. Look at that, it came with a nice little brush with it. See, it says right there, free brush. So yeah, that's real nice considering that I paid like $24 for this. So nice of them to include a brush. Yes, it's free. Believe it if you want. We're just gonna go ahead and grab a little bit of this. A dab do ya. Oh, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be spreading like the Permatex stuff, which is what I usually use. I don't know. It feels way thicker too. It doesn't feel, just stroking it with the brush, you could just feel how thick it is. I don't know. I just bought this stuff. It's the first time I'm using this CRC stuff. I'm gonna see how it works out. The only reason I bought it is because the Permatex stuff comes in smaller containers and it's just as expensive. So in an attempt to save a few pesos, I'm trying out this stuff, you know. Oh, let's see how it works out. Okay, so another reason why I bought this container is because I wanted something I could just keep in the garage, and it's always just going to be sitting here. It's not really a travel. Is it travel? I don't know. It's not really a small container, where that small of a container that I could just throw it in my car and take it with me to go do mobile, like brake jobs and stuff. I got different grease for that. So I bought this one just so I keep it in the garage. But when I used to work at the body shop, I noticed, well, this was years ago, whenever the guy who worked there bought a container of grease like this, he would always just leave it open without the cap, and he'd just keep, you know, the brush in here. But, you know, you can imagine in a body shop, this would always get, you know, full of like dirt and dust and all kind of stuff. So, like I said, it's not really going to be my traveling grease. I want to leave it here, but I don't want to keep pulling the cap on and off and all that stuff, but I also want to keep the brush in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut a little slot in it. Now, it's either going to work like a charm or be an epic fail. We'll find out. So that's all I'm doing, nothing fancy. And just drop it like that. Put it back on there. So, you know, that's my idea. That way I can just keep it here in the garage. Whenever I need it, I just grab it with me. Just grab it and it's ready to go. That way, yeah, some stuff is going to get in there, but, you know, with the cap on, it's really going to minimize the amount of crap that's going to get in there. So, let's see how it works out. I guess it's the first time I'm trying this idea. Sorry guys, I warned you, told you I'm sick. Alright, as you can see, we got some fancy rotors here that I ordered for this car, so there's no oil on them, there's no need to clean them. Just slap them on like that because they're already painted. Well, look at that, they fit. Now, I don't like this about this car. Look at these cheap little lug nuts. I mean, come on. I put a side mirror on this car the other day, and it's like the way Ford designed this car. I mean, it's horrible, horrible. Just stupid cheap. I understand it's a Ford Focus. You know, that's the idea of it. Very inexpensive car, but I mean, come on. Okay, so I went ahead and cleaned up the caliper bracket a little bit using a file, you know, just to take the real heavy rust off. And I'm not usually into putting lubricant right here because I found that it just collects, you know, dirt, and then it starts to retain it. So I like to, you know, let the hardware kit or the little, you know, the shims do the work and let the pads glide back and forth on those. But on this design, which again to me just seems really cheap, I just don't like when I see cars that are designed like this where the pad is meant to ride directly on the bracket. So I did read through the instructions for new brake pad, and it does say to lubricate this right here. Like I said, I don't usually like doing this, but I'm just gonna follow the instructions. And yes, this will collect dirt and debris while you're driving, and like I said, it's gonna retain it and just hold it there. And I think eventually this will cause a problem. This is why I think it's a crappy design. But at the same time, if you don't do it because the pads ride on this, and you know, especially since it's not a brand new caliper bracket, it's all pitted and everything to begin with, you know, the pad's not gonna glide across it as smooth as it should because it's, you know, not a new bracket. So I don't know, it's a crappy design, but whatever, just doing what the instructions say. Okay, so it looks like I'm gonna have to put some up here as well. Yeah, I don't know if you can see this on camera, but I'm really liking this hole that I cut right here on top. It's working pretty well so far. Alright, like always, I'm applying a little bit of blue thread locker onto the two bolts that hold caliper bracket. Oh, guess what? It's story time, kids. Alright, let me move some of this junk out the way. Okay, so today I went with my girlfriend and her family to a restaurant, you know, to go have dinner. And she said it was going to be a very fancy place. So, you know, I'm looking forward to it. Now, I'm a simple guy. I'm poor. I grew up poor. So, I'm not really sure, or I've never even really been to a fancy place, you know. But I went there, and sure enough, it was a fancy place. I mean, I was I was way underdressed for this thing, you know what I mean? Like, I dressed up in casual clothes, and we show up there. Now, I don't want to get into this whole race thing or anything like that, but let's just say I was the only person of color there. Yeah, a lot of people were looking at me like, what the hell is this guy doing here? You know, he doesn't belong. Is he here to like serve our food? Is he here to collect the garbage? Is he the janitor or something? But yeah, so it was really weird for me. And I mean, people are in, you know, suits, ties, tuxedos. They're drinking wine and all this stuff, you know. They're ordering food I never even heard of, and they asked me what I want to drink, and I'm like, Pepsi? You know, everyone's drinking wine and fancy stuff, and, you know, like, whatever. So, you know, they come down to ask me, you know, what I want to eat, and talking about, you know, I ordered a steak. You know, and then they started talking about like the appetizers and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just, it's not my place, guys. I don't belong there. I don't feel comfortable. You know, and at the end of the day, you know, you're there and you're being treated like a god by these people, granted, because you're paying good money to eat in a nice restaurant, right? So, of course, the people who work there treat you really nice because, you know, they want to get paid a nice tip. You know, and you got to figure they are making decent money, because if it's a really fancy place that charges a lot of money for food, and granted, you're supposed to, you know, pay a certain percentage of that as a tip, you can only imagine. But I don't know. Just wasn't my place, man. I just don't fit in. I felt like everyone was looking at me. And I'm not even exaggerating when I mean I was the only person of color there. Alright, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take these slide pins off of the caliper and just kind of clean them up and lube them up again. Okay, so I got the slide pins all lubed up, cleaned up and everything. Just gonna go ahead and slap in the rear pad, since you have to put this on before. Alright, that one's in. Okay. And the front pad, just go ahead and set it on here. Like so. And of course, not forget about your little plastic caps. You don't want water to get inside of here. And we have some new clips for the front of the caliper, which this is considered the hardware kit. So let's see if I can figure this crap out. Shouldn't be too difficult. And there we go. These are actually pretty easy to get on. Last time I did a job that used this style was a Lincoln Navigator, and boy did these things give me hell. But looks like we're all done with this side, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the brakes on the other side of the car. Okay, and before I go ahead and put the wheels back on, see, this is what I was talking about. The tire looks like it has plenty of life on it. There's a lot of tread on it, but if you look closely, you see all the cracks in here. Let's see if this camera, there you go, on this side as well. So yeah, the car doesn't get driven much. It just kind of sits all day. That's why the tires have so much life on them, yet they're all like dry rotted. Did you see what just happened there? In case you missed it, I'm gonna do it again. That's right. It just moves so easily. This thing used to be like a giant weight to pull around. But I recently just went at it with some penetrating oil and sprayed everything and anything that's supposed to move. And it just kind of glides along the ground like a ballerina now. Ballerina is probably not the best word. A dancer. An ice skater. Yeah, that sounds a lot better. It glides across the ground like an ice skater. And anyone who watched my last video in the garage when I had the Nissan in here, remember I was talking about the Milwaukee toolbox, at least the top chest, and there it goes. It's beautiful, it's big, it's heavy, and I love it. I have so much more space now for my tools, so much room for activities. You know what, guys, I thought I was having a pretty good week, and I was. And not just by, you know, like working on cars, I mean by just in general. Things have been going good. You know, good week. So all was well until yesterday. Yesterday I got a letter from the state saying that I owe $2,000 from when I filed taxes back in 2013. So Yeah, that's like, that's a real kick to the balls. I'm not gonna lie, it really sucks. So my whole good week streak just kind of went right down the drain. Same thing on this side. Pads aren't that bad. You know what? That was a stupid move. I had the pad on here. I should just use it while it's on there to compress the piston. So I took the head from a Honda K-Series to the machine shop maybe like 2 weeks ago. So obviously it's been 2 weeks. And I went ahead and called them up and they told me we haven't gotten to it because we've been really busy. So I'm in no rush. I mean, for God's sake, I don't even have a car, it's just an engine. So literally I'm in no rush at all. You know, but to me, like, let's just say it was a customer's car I'm waiting on, you know, it's some work I'm doing or whatever. I'm a paying customer as well, so for them to say we couldn't get to it because we're really busy, I mean, like, what the hell? Are you doing the work for me for free or something that you could just, you know, put me on the back burner? I don't know. But, I mean, it just baffles me because I am paying them to do the work. You know, I'm not really upset because, like I said, no rush at all. But if I were in a rush and I do need to head back right away, I mean, really, it shouldn't matter. You know, why are you going to tell me we haven't gotten to it because we've been really busy? I don't know, I'm just ranting. It's what I do. But you probably noticed that I'm not very good at multitasking. Whenever I start talking, I stop working. Trust me, I know this. It's a flaw of mine, and I'm just not good at working and talking. I also noticed that when I'm working on a car and someone's trying to talk to me, and it really does distract me, that I tend to forget to do things, you know, so it's why when I'm in the garage and I'm working on a car, I don't like for anyone to be in here talking to me because, you know, for me to forget to tighten something, it's not worth it. But, yeah, like I'm talking right now and I just completely stopped moving. Okay, so I decided to take a break before I move on to the rear brakes. No pun intended. But look what I got here. That's right, fancy whole cashews. Maybe I should have been eating more of these bad boys before I went to that dinner today. And we're back again. So now it's time to do the rear brakes, and I believe this style is just like my Nissan Versa, where you pull this off and the wheel bearing is integrated into the drum. So let's go ahead and get that off. Ah, come on. What the heck is this? Something fell out. Yeah, just to let you know, there is something weird going on with the rear brakes, and you can feel it through the brake pedal, because once the front brake pads already gain enough like pressure, and then it starts to push out the rear cylinder inside the drum. You hear a noise coming from the drum, and there's also like a step in the brake pedal. So the brake pedal is like real smooth. That's all the front brakes, and then once this rear cylinder starts to come out, it's like it like skips. So let's see what's going on here. Inside of the drum looks okay. Oh, look at this. See that? Boom, gone. So, there is your problem, lady. Okay, so let's see if, so here we have the new shoes. Now I did order a new set, like the hardware kit. So, let's see if we have new springs. Yes, and yes, we're all set. So, we're good. And we're all set. This side is all put back together. Everything's looking good. So now I just have to go ahead and do the other side. Okay, and we're all set on this side. So I'm just going to go ahead and button everything up. I think I'm going to close this video out right here. Remember, it's all shits and giggles until someone giggles and shits. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want, and I'll see you next time. Bye.